because of who they answer to. Influence peddlers. Did you know that there were 12,719 registered lobbyists working in 2011, influencing Congress, the White House, and federal agencies? Lobbying is a $3.3 billion business in Washington, but you already knew that. But lawmakers also answer to party bosses. We've seen that happen as well. We saw that happen to a great extent all throughout the 2012 presidential campaign, didn't we? You know, the whole Ron Paul thing, a lot of people think that I was like a Ron Paul supporter who managed to get a microphone and a legitimate job and then said, this is the moment. We're going to do this. And started reporting so that I could sneak him into office. My bosses thought that. When in fact, to be completely transparent here, I knew nothing about Ron Paul the first time I reported on him. Nothing. And I'm kind of embarrassed by that because we're from the same state. Granted, it's Texas, so we were like 900 miles apart. But even so, just didn't know anything about him. In fact, the only thing I knew about him at the time was that he was the crazy guy during the 2008 election and the presidential campaign who had to stay at the end of the stage. And I thought he was from Alaska for a while. People kept saying, who's that guy? Oh, he's crazy. And then, of course, you know, it all came up because somebody on Facebook sent me a message one day and said, what's wrong with Ron Paul? Why doesn't the media talk about him? And I said, they do talk about him. And they wrote back and said, no, they don't. So I was like, okay, well, I'll look into it. And I did. So what I found was that party bosses and lobbyists and special interest groups and focus groups and political consultants are the problem in Washington, because lawmakers don't answer to the one group of people that they're expected or required to answer to under law. You. They don't answer to you. They answer to all these other groups. And for too long, the American people have put up with it. And part of the reason they put up with it is because, even though Washington is broken, there's no accountability. None at all. What a handsome group of people. I'm not sure who the guy is with the GQ thing. I don't think he has a show anymore. But the rest of them, it's a broken system, is it not? It's a system in Washington that does not work, and the one group that is tasked with, supposed to, given the authority to really stand up for you, the people, and hold those in power accountable, is media. And we don't do it. We don't even sort of do it. Because not only do we focus on all the wrong things, the entertainment things, the cheap laughs, whatever it might be, but on top of that, when actual legitimate news comes along, not only do we not know how to deal with it, but we ignore it if it challenges the status quo. It's a lot easier in a newsroom to go along, to get along, than it is to challenge the groupthink mentality of a newsroom. And so journalists in America, whether they be at the very highest levels or at the very lowest levels, are all playing the same game. Somebody said to me the other day, we were doing an AMA on Reddit, and they said, so do you think that there are so many people bought off in media, so many people bought off that they won't tell the truth? And I said, no, you don't have to buy lots of people off. You're not very good at buying people off, are you, sir? You only need to buy one or two. You only need to provide one or two people the really cush deal, the really good money, the really sweet deal to get everybody else to fall into line. It's not paying people off. It's the hope that one day I'll be able to achieve the same thing. You play along and there won't be problems. There is no accountability. Hopefully the audio on this works. I don't know if it's in mono or stereo. Let's test it and see. You can laugh at the facial gestures. If not, you might need to crank it. Oh no.
Why our enemies don't get it. Hey, the Constitution founded our great country. The American Constitution, the blueprints for our way of life. I really worry if we have lost an understanding of our Constitution, our founding principles, an understanding of what makes us strong.
They hate our freedom. They hate our way of life. They hate who we are. They hate our liberty.
It is like we are the Anne Hathaway of countries. You hate us, but only because you can't get with this. Why do you hate America? Is it that we're too nice, that we sing too well, or that we're too hot? I dreamed a dream. All right. And that's why how we handle Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev is so important. For the strength of our system lies in how durable it is, even for our most heinous citizens.
I'm a little bit concerned because now he's got his Miranda rights, the right to remain silent.
Miranda is the guy or not?
I don't understand the point. First thing you want to tell them is you have the right to remain silent. Fantastic. So the bombs that could be exploding and the pots that could be unfolding, we can't ask him.
Okay, first of all, not reading someone their Miranda rights doesn't mean they don't have their Miranda rights. You have Miranda rights under the Constitution. You don't have to say them out loud for them to become real. You're thinking Beetlejuice. Now, the only reason you have to read them is so that whatever the suspect has done or did, whatever they do say is admissible at their trial. It's another hallmark of our constitutionally guaranteed right to due process.
I think it's a mistake not to treat him as an enemy combatant.
We ought to look at him as an enemy combatant and moving him toward a military tribunal.
Yes, a civilian trial for terrorists, not going to work. So like Tim McVeigh, Ted Kaczynski, Ramsey Yosef, and the Blind Sheep roam our fair country in a bus, going city to city, singing medleys of original hits, and... What's that? Really? The dead are in prison, huh? Well, who am I thinking of? Is it, the Muppets? Oh, all right. I get it. Well, to be fair, they both tried to take Manhattan. So in the wake of an assault on our freedom and way of life, we have quickly jettisoned the Sixth Amendment right to a fair trial and speedy trial, and the Fifth Amendment's right against self-incrimination. What's next?
This guy ought to be, right now, being interrogated in a very intense way. I'd waterboard him. I don't believe enhanced interrogation is torture. I don't.
You don't believe enhanced interrogation is torture? Because torture, like Tinkerbell, depends on if we believe. So there goes the Eighth Amendment's ban on cruel and unusual punishment. Any freedom lovers want to take a crack at some of the lower ones, your thirds, your fourths?
Should the FBI be allowed to now go into mosques and wiretap and surveil? I think this is a great case for opening up that line of surveillance.
I think that we should be able to put enlisting devices in there.
Sure, illegal search and seizure? Done! The freedom lovers at Fox are jettisoning amendments like Han Solo dumping cargo to make the jump to light speed at the first sign of Imperial cruisers, right, Chewie? But you know what? Anybody can toss away the lesser-known amendments. Only a true patriot can set a course straight for the first.
We really have to consider that, given the fact so many people hate us, that we're going to have to cut off Muslim students from coming to this country for some period of time.
Yes, a religious litmus test for school enrollment, says Fox's most prominent liberal voice. Holy, what's left? A prohibition on the unmentioned personal rights in the Constitution that are designated to the people?
I want to know about this wife as well. I don't care if she knew about this. She ought to be in prison for wearing a hijab.
And down goes the Ninth Amendment! Down goes the Ninth Amendment! Ann Coulter doesn't just want a police state, she wants a fashion police state. Now, of course, to their credit, any of the Fox contributors or anchors who have studied law have a somewhat different take on this subject.
To try him as an enemy combatant, the government can't just willy-nilly do that.
I mean, now you're getting into a dangerous place.
Is that possible?
No.
But of course, these types of legal arguments are no match for freedom math.
How many Muslims in the world? Anybody? 1.57 billion. Let's just say 10% dislike us or hate us. That means 157 million Muslims hate us. If 10%, 5%, 1% are radicalized and would kill us? I mean,
That's
the 1.5 million people who are radicalized to the point where they would want to kill us Americans.
Wow, that's